your videos are incredibly boring and 83.94% of people click off after the first 20 seconds, a good trick that you can use is to cut out the only mildly interesting thing that you say in the entire video and play it before the credits. Just plonk the words "coming soon" on the screen and maybe make it black and white so it's like 1% more visually interesting.
Anyway, we start off right here, and I got confused, so I go, "Oh wait, what?"
Yeah, it seems like he's doing a boss run of all the classics. So you got your homophobia, your transphobia, all the phobias. You know, he's doing all the phobias at once.
Who is this big toe in headphones, I hear you cry? So this is Lance from the Serfs. He's a bourgeois radlib bread tuber and content creation bottom feeder with more videos about the quartering than the quartering has about Brie Larson. Remember, leave a like on the video or you hate Brie Larson. He's like Xander Hall but somehow worse.
Who is Commie Mark? I don't really know. Apparently a guy that doesn't like me?
The dude just reacts to other people's videos without adding any real opinion or actual context. And speaking of actual context,
as I'm concerned, and I really just want to make that clear.
yes! A gift from Saint Baby Jesus himself. This week's channel spotlight is actually reviewing the subject of last week's. I actually felt kind of sympathetic towards forced adversity after my video essay, and I'd made a conscious effort to go easy on him in the hope they would open some kind of dialogue. But that may or may not have actually triggered the epic meltdown on Twitter and the subsequent spiraling shit show that followed, culminating in him privating his Twitter account and this hit piece video about Richard C. Meyer by forced adversity that we're now going to watch Lance from the Serfs reacting to.
Woke agenda!
Pro SJW feminist fans of Birds of Prey. Trash, woke trash movies.
Birds of a case, Doomcock.
I'll say it again, I don't give a fuck. That's a great intro. But one of the many nice things that I said about that guy in my other video before he chimped out like a child, go and check it out. But this episode isn't really about forced adversity. This is more an observation on how disinformation is spread down the ironically finger-quoted alt-left pipeline. So Lance hasn't even spoken yet and he's already made two glaring mistakes. ComicsGate. What the fuck is that? The other mistake that he made was watching this video in the first place.
Meet Richard Meyer.
What are your thoughts on the current state of comic books?
Comics are kind of weirdly dying politics, specifically identity politics being shoved into everything.
What a radical and racist thing to say. Like when the vice president of sales for Marvel has always been progressive Marvel Comics said the same thing over a year earlier. What we heard was that people didn't want any more diversity, he said, David Gabriel. They didn't want female characters out there. That's what we heard, whether we believed it or not. I don't know that that's really true, but that's what we saw in sales. Any character that was diverse, any character that was new, our female characters, anything that was not a core Marvel character, people turned their nose up. And this isn't from Bleeding Cool or Abandoning to Comics, this is a Guardian, bro, a real fake leftist mainstream media newspaper. So the sales data at this point in time positively correlates with what Richard Meyer is saying here. So either this isn't racist to say, or it is. Either Richard C. Meyer isn't racist for saying this, or this is another example of how Marvel has always been progressive. Is this progressive? Just whack an out of context graph on the screen. It doesn't matter that the data that you're flashing here actually proves the opposite of what you're saying. It'll come and go before the viewer even has a chance to understand what they're looking at, and they ain't gonna go back and read the article. Don't worry about it. Actually, bro, do worry about it. I'm going to read it right now. When you add in the digital and other channels, direct market sales fell under 50% of the total for the first time since comic book shops overtook newsstand distribution in the early 1980s. According to BookScan data shared at the conference you're fucking referencing, kid-orientated comics and graphic novels account for a whopping 41% of sell-through at bookstores. Manga is 28%. Superhero content is less than 10%, down 9.6% year over year.
Well, I mean, don't get me started on the movies. You know, don't get me started on all the movies, because once we hear about the Go Woke Go crowd, yeah, no, they went broke. Did you see how broke they went?
So, while Forced Adversity has done all the heavy lifting here, while your man Lance just sat there with this clueless expression on his face, the look of a guy who just caught the wrong bus to the wrong city. After all this time, Lance finally speaks and graces us, the hoi polloi, with his thoughts, and let's take a moment to just bask in the incredible insight that he offered to the pearls of wisdom that he added to the debate.
Well, I mean, don't get me started on the movies. You know, don't get me started on all the movies, because once we hear about the Go Woke Go crowd, yeah, no, they went broke. Did you see how broke they went?
I mean, I've heard more coherent sentences from Joe Biden.
For people that bad in healthcare. True international under pressure.
We of course are rocking those A cups. Anything above a B cup. You hate women.
Me, personally, I love an A cup and a B cup. I like a nice Marie Antoinette-sized breast. Marie Antoinette, damn. The things that I would do to that woman. Mainly, I'd put her in a fucking guillotine. I'm joking, I oppose the death penalty.
But Meyer and his crew aren't just fighting what's in comic books, they're also attacking women and people of colour who make comic books.
But this is the same as the graph trick. Just throw some tweets up on the screen and hope that nobody reads them. I mean, ooh, he called someone a fake geek girl. But this next thing that he says is outrageous and indefensible. Shouldn't go around dehumanizing people by reducing them to objects of sexual gratification, not real people.
Literally sucked her way into the comic industry.
Of course.
Is a dumpster.
You called a woman a dumpster?
Yeah.
Do you want to know who makes me come? I make me come! You have very little to do with it. You're just a container I shoot it into.
That's not good.
Ms. Marvel was introduced as a Pakistani-American Muslim. If you don't like her, it's because you're racist or sexist, but probably both.
Diversity as a form of performative guilt doesn't work. A Marvel's tendency to introduce new iterations of fan favorites by killing off or humiliating the original character. I mean, who wants a legacy if the legacy is shitty? Not liking a particular comic book character or cartoon character doesn't necessarily make you a racist. And if you think that saying something like that is a bigoted or racist position to hold, then I will remind you that these aren't my words. These aren't the words of Richard C. Meyer. These are the words of G. Willow Wilson, the writer of the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel series, who is herself a female Muslim.
You're making your women dress like ninjas.
And ninja, according to Jim Jeffries.
Right? Cut a clitoris off. Guess what? You're a nut job.
Using ableist language to dunk on American Muslims isn't cool, bro. But, come in, Mark, Islam isn't a race, it's a religion. And if you're saying that in the chat, then you are correct. But my question is, would this count as a demonstration of Islamophobia?
I think it would. Anyway, we start off right here, and I got confused, so I go, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, it seems like he's doing a boss run of all the classics. So you got your homophobia, your transphobia, all the phobias. You know, he's doing all the phobias at once.
Huh? What?
What? Where in the video did he say anything remotely homophobic or transphobic? He definitely didn't. We've talked about itty bitty little titties versus big mama milkers and new characters replacing old ones. I bet if you looked hard enough, you could probably find something you could flash on the screen to back up your claims rather than throwing around phobias and isms. This is what forced adversity would call a thought-terminating cliche.
Why is a woman being drawn to be like sexy and alluring and fit and happy? It was just a bait and switch because this is what we get. Yep, take that, male gaze.
Is he saying male gaze like Gaze, or is that gaze like the gaze? There's gonna be no way of finding that one out. It's gonna be a tough one to figure out.
Oh yeah, Lance, good point. Well made. Thanks for your contribution.
Also, why are all these people obsessed with getting off the children's cartoons? You know, like the quartering.
Because Lance clearly doesn't know anything about the subject matter that he's trying to talk about, he's grasping for a way to make it relevant to him, and the only way that he can do that is through his rivalry with the quartering.
He wanted all of us to cope because here's what She-Ra would look if he could properly get off. Oh yeah, here it is. Cope. 2,000 likes, damn.
No real point, just interested in the number of likes.
Also, canonically, She-Ra, I believe, is 17.
17? That's the same age as the underage girl that Jim Jeffries bragged about drugging for sex. In his defense, that happened in the UK where that's legal. The age part, I mean, not the drugging women for sex part. And if you think that's defendable, then maybe check out John Lamont's Demonitrix on Kickstarter, published by Preston Poulter. Maybe go donate to his GoFundMe legal fees that Forced Adversity was promoting.
So, yikes.
I've seen a few of his sycophantic defenders saying that the interview was deceptively edited to make him look bad.
Okay, so how do you feel about this black Superman? Okay, a slightly less black Superman.
Yeah, no, that's actually better.
The thing is that Jim Jeffries has a history of doing this, is known for doing this, and this is the reason that he lost his job at Comedy Central in the first place, after he was exposed for doing this exact thing.
Meet Jewish activist Avi Yemeni, a good Australian name. I might sound like a hippie saying this. What gives anyone the right to tell anyone where they can and can't live?
When you import this culture, what do you think's going to happen? Australia's going to end up the same shithole that they came from, that they were escaping.
What gives anyone the right to tell anyone where they can and can't live? Really? Like,
Borders?
I know borders, yeah. But wouldn't it just be nice if we got to a place in society where we had a utopia, where we all just lived as
on a level, I agree.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
I think most people, sensible people would agree with you on theory.
Yeah.
But in practice, it's not. It goes against human nature. It just doesn't work.
And while we're here just ragging on Jim Jeffries now, here's him doing some more delightful Islamophobia.
So Muhammad is considered the perfect man.
Right, yes.
Okay?
You can't draw a picture of it.
No, don't you dare, don't you dare. I've got enough death threats on me, brother.
There he is.
Jesus Christ.
There he is. He looks like a wobbly ghost. I'm not a big fan of Islam. I think that wearing a burqa is stupid and demeaning and all these things. Islam or dingo?
Islam and dingo sneaky?
Yeah.
Probably both.
Probably both. Dangerous?
Probably both.
Probably both.
The dingo ate the baby. It turned out it did it.
If it ain't a bloody Muslim baby, it would have vomited.
No, I don't actually
that's
agree
not
with
that shit. I'm only joking.
But that's not funny. You're talking about fucking killing kids.
No, it's not
that's
funny.
crossing the line. There's a fucking line.
We'll edit this bit out. I never look bad in these interviews.
We'll edit this bit out. I never look bad in these interviews. Yeah?
I have no doubt that there were some cuts in that interview that were done to
Deceptive. How could they did you dirty? You know, how could that have happened?
Maximize comedic effect because, it is a Comedy Central show after all, and Lil Dick Meyer knew that going in, so, what's his excuse, right? But the words that he said are just right there. It's not like they cut together entire sentences. The stuff he said was just downright embarrassing for any grown man to say publicly. I'm sure it feels good to type that kind of crap, from behind a Twitter screen or whatever, but when that kind of delusion meets the real world, It's going to sound pretty stupid to most sane people. And Lil Dicky Meyer, if you take issue with the content of this video and can get your tongue out of Ethan's enormous gaping asshole long enough, I'd be glad to meet up and settle it like men, you fucking bitch ass cuck. The stuff he said was just downright embarrassing for any grown man to say publicly. The stuff he said was just downright embarrassing for any grown man to say publicly. But when that kind of delusion meets the real world, it's going to sound pretty stupid to most sane people. But when that kind of delusion meets the real world, it's going to sound pretty stupid to most sane people. I'd be glad to meet up and settle it like men, you fucking bitch ass cuck.
Wait, does that mean I have to fight Jim Jeffries now? If that's going to go down, it has to happen here in the UK because I'm not paying for healthcare after getting beaten up by Jim Jeffries. That's the end. Fuck off.